My name is Ryan Paxton. I am the workshop director at the Eli Whitney Museum and Workshop. If you have been to the museum, you may have a little glimpse of what we do, but it's a very complex place. I am a designer, fabricator, mentor. I work with 60 to 90 apprentices, and then various student groups that come to the museum. But I design the projects that we produce, and I produce them in my shop. I do it because I love it. I've always been excited as an educator. When I found, or when the museum found me, it was sort of a mutual search. It felt like the perfect place to be. It, utilized my skills as a designer and fabricator and my ambitions as an educator. If you haven't been to the museum, it's right on the edge of New Haven. It's in Hamden. It's just across the border on Whitney Avenue. And it's on the edge of East Rock Park. So it has a beautiful entrance to East Rock Park from our parking lot. You go through a covered bridge, and it's just a great resource for people in this community. During this fall, we wanted to keep our apprentices engaged, and it was difficult because we couldn't have them indoors. So we decided to restore some of the trails in East Rock Park and provide better access to the footbridge by building a ramp for some poorly designed steps that approach the footbridge. And that's that's a thing that the museum does that people may not recognize, because some people may know us as the place that makes the projects that their kids bring home from school. But we're doing so many other things, like collaborating with Yale China, working with other institutions around the community. When our pandemic situation gets better, I would love for people to come visit the museum. It's just a really beautiful place, and I think when things get back to normal, it's for me as a learner, I like to see how things are done. So one thing you can do is see, how things are made when our apprentices are assembling kits, or you can get a better sense of like what it is we do if you actually come visit. I collaborated with my intern, Nina Chang, and of course the director of the museum, Bill Brown. And we initially started with a traditional shadow puppet design where the light source and the puppet are behind a screen, so you could do a performance. But we realized that when a child interacts with it, they're not seeing the immediate results of the play that they would be directing. So rather than hiding behind that screen, we decided to reverse it and project the shadow onto any surface. So now you could take that shadow puppet and project it onto a wall. And it allows them to interact with it more directly and, really see the impacts of their decisions. So that was like really the baseline for the start of it. And then it gets fun for me. Then it comes to my shop where I can really focus on the design and engineering of the project and get down to some of my core principles when I design these things. One being as little waste as possible. So if you look at the design of the project, the parts that are used for the project are contained within the project itself. The next part I want to share with you is that this comes from some inspiration from the designer, the late designer Enzo Mari, who passed away this year. He is an Italian designer. He's pretty well known for a design he did with animals that are nested like within a matrix. And so I designed the dragon that allows students to create their own dragon using individual parts. So they're not limited to what we choose, but they are allowed creativity. We're always looking at, old designs and inspiration. That's such a big part of what we do is research and, just looking at the world around us. Have fun and don't be afraid to experiment. That's really what we hope for. I've provided 9 dragon parts. There's 3 heads, 3 bodies, and 3 tails. Make your own story and make your own parts too. These should be an inspiration. I really see this project as a starting point, and I'm always excited to see people create something new from what was created. So this really is for you to learn from and develop your own.